This time it is my pleasure to call the August 2024 meeting of your Hanover Borough Council to order. I request that we stand and recite our Pledge of Allegiance in unison. We'll follow that with a brief moment of silence. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all, and please be seated. We'll have the calling of the roll by Secretary Felix.
Okay, Mr. Bubb?
Here.
Mr. Fuentes?
Here.
Mrs. Funk?
Here.
Mrs. Greenholt?
Here.
Mr. Hegberg?
Here.
Mr. Kress?
Here.
Mr. Lookenbill?
Here.
Mr. Reichart?
Here.
Mr. Rowland? Dr. Rupp?
Here.
Solicitor Schultes?
Here.
Manager Lewis?
Here.
Mayor Whitman? Secretary Felix? We have a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, I'll open up the room for public comment. The first being pre-submitted by Robert Holt. Mr. Holt.
Thank you, Mr. President. Robert Holt, P.O. Box 1131, Hanover, Pennsylvania. I'm in the 3rd Ward. Tonight I will sit. It's been a long day. Sir, thank you for your service to the borough, for the things you do. Sometimes we forget that you're working for nothing and dealing with headaches. I get it. Tonight, I just want to make a fairly simple request, and that is, last year I had to file a Right to Know Act to get a copy of the line item budget of the borough. And I did get it, but it came weeks after the public comment period. It ended in December. This is a wealth of information. I mean, some people talk about truth and some people talk about justice, and I only know one thing: facts and the law. And I think people would greatly benefit if you would just make this available on your website when it's released for public comment. It's pretty easy. It's pretty standard. We're in the 21st century. I noticed that even the smallest municipalities do it. I've provided for you, sir, a written request now, in fairness, to give you ample time to think about it and how you would all do it, and the logistics of that. And so that's what I'm asking for. And it would probably go a great way into getting an annoying guy to shut up a little bit. And so thank you. And I'll say thank you to the Borough Police for doing some traffic enforcement on Maple Avenue. There's more cars parked on both sides of the streets. There's more kids. There's more people walking around with baby carriages. It's not exactly where I live, but it is my neighborhood. And if I do believe still there's a 4-way stop is needed at High and Maple. And I thank you for your time.
Okay, next we'll have Isaac Riston.
Good evening. My name is Isaac Riston. That's ISAACRISTON. I live at 36 West Hanover Street. I'll be talking on agenda item 1, Ordinance 2371. Very simple. As stated by the solicitor in the Borough Council meeting June 26th, we called the current ordinance virtually unenforceable, and so we have a new one for fixing the renter registration ordinance. I assume this will pass 10-0. It makes a lot of sense and is a compromise, so hopefully we can actually get started on fixing the rental problem we have in the borough. The note next I'd like to talk about is the resolution number 1417 relating specifically to the fee for residential rental registration. It was said at the November 15th Finance and Personnel meeting that the year-to-date in calls was around 890 calls, right, for beginning of last year, all the way to November. Right now, we heard last week that our calls are averaging between 200 to 300. On a year-to-date, when we hit November, we should be double with what we did last year. That's because our codes department is working overtime. People know we have a codes department, that we're enforcing the law, so people are actually able to come out and get help. The problem with that, though, is when you're doing more with less, and now we're tacking on another program on top of that to basically affect more than half of our properties here in the borough. And just as a reminder, of the 72 municipalities in York County, we're number 2 in terms of rental units and density. We're only beat by the city. That's it. So when we have this, when we're saying about we need a fee to really boost our department, it's because we want to make sure that we're not having an unfunded mandate, something the state and federal government does that really isn't unfunded. Local taxes have to cover for it, right? Or state taxes have to cover for it. In this scenario, we're trying to look ahead and trying to make sure that our programs are funded effectively, following the law and following the court's decisions from Allentown in 2017, right? So when you're discussing the resolution fee for rental units, please keep that in mind. Again, that's why I'm super happy you didn't falter when you put a tax or a fee in the ordinance, because going through the process to change it in the future, headache, right? For the resolution fee, you'll be able to change that in the future. And again, this is very fluid. I imagine next January and February, you have a lot of discussions about it. The last thing I have is on the council meetings for the council budget workshop. I urge you to please record the meeting and have community media stream it. They do that for Gettysburg. It's something they're able to do. This will allow people to not only watch, but have it on record, so you don't need a transcript. They already have an AI generation for that. We ran into a problem last year with Main Street with funding as well. Someone said this, someone said that. Having it on video, so people don't have to be there from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., right? Allowing the public to really see what's going on and have a look. So those are my 3 agenda items I wanted to speak about. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Sandy Mao.
My name is Sandy Mao, General Delivery, and I'm here again concerning the library. I have 3 points to make there. I'm going to allow ECI et al. To explain the damage that this council and your predecessors have caused as a result of this body's stubbornness, negligence, and malfeasance. All of you engaged in a standoff, a battle of wills, no pun intended, over who is responsible for the maintenance and upkeep of the Hanover Public Library, the Young Guthrie Library. We are currently without AC on days when the Historical Society is present. However, someone did place a dehumidifier outside the book cafe, which is not a substitute for a functioning HVAC system. I want to thank the retired Fairfield baseball coach, teacher, and former Borough Council member here in Hanover, Gettysburg, and Spring Grove for pinpointing how long this animosity has existed. Number 2, rumor has it that you have encouraged a snag in relocating the teen center. No one took into consideration the needs, the requirements, or the specifications required when implementing the displacement. Now we have no place for the teens' PCs. The solution is to take the adult PCs, that would be PC 1 through 6, and denote them for teen usage, leaving PC 7 through 12 for the adults to use. My question to all of you is, how are you going to shield and protect the teens from the exposure to the pornos who come in there on a regular basis, from the foul mouth, potty mouth users who have spent hours on that computer using the F word and the FM word, your informants, and those who practice mass shootings? I'm concerned that the number of patrons being reported to you by the trio of informants in the atrium on a daily basis is having a chilling effect. The third member of that trio threatened a mass shooting about 50 miles away 3 Sundays ago. Yes, that'd be 3 weeks ago. He has since moved from his cell phone to the library PC, where he practices his shooting skills. Thirdly, transparency. That's a continuing issue. Why wasn't the visit by the Mexican consul posted on the borough website calendar or the library calendar? And why, when I went to access the library calendar, did I receive a pop-up message that said I was going too fast through the app? I don't ever recall ever seeing that comment before. How can you go too fast through an app when you've been denied access to it? Thank you for your time.
Okay, that will conclude public comment for in-room. Is there anyone online, community media?
Those joining us via Zoom can unmute yourself if you'd like to address council.
None, I'll close the comment portion of the meeting, but while I have you exercising a speaking part, is Councilor Rowland, his status muted, unmuted?
It appears he's online and has a microphone, and he's a co-host, so he should be able to unmute himself at any time.
Okay, thank you.
Can we ask him if he would speak so we can make sure?
Okay, Scott, can you say something so we can test the system?
On 2 different phones?
Yeah, he's on his computer and his phone.
Councilor Rowland, what say you?
Appears he's unmuted.
Councilor Rowland, can you hear us? Are we reaching? Beginning of a Pink Floyd song. Anyone get it?
Dark side of the moon.
Are we reaching? Okay, we're going to proceed forward with those in the room. At this
He'll
time,
show up.
at this time, we're going to invite Amy Hill to come forward. I believe you have a new employee to introduce us to.
At your request, we're going to have, moving forward, anytime a new staff that maybe the public would interact with, or a management supervisor who may be here speaking in front of you, come and introduce themselves. So we did have a new hire back at the end of May. Her name is Kara Ellison. I'll have Kara come up and tell you a little bit about herself, but she is the administrative assistant to the borough secretary. She is learning Dory's job as Dory plans for her retirement someday.
Wait a minute, we haven't approved that.
We haven't approved that, right?
No, we haven't. It's a different meeting.
Yeah, as you can imagine, it's a big job for Kara, but
That gives us another 5 years, right?
Hello, my name is Kara Ellison. As Amy said, I am training under Dory to hopefully eventually take over for her when she decides to retire. You heard a lot from me a couple of weeks ago when she had to go and take care of her civic duties. It was lovely getting to reach out to you all myself, if a little bit overwhelming at times, but I believe together we'll all manage to get through this transition process.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
At this time, I will request a motion for, I missed my presentation. I will request a presentation update. Main Street?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, thank you for allowing us again to make a presentation, kind of let you know what's going on with Main Street. For those of you that may not remember, I'm Nikki Hoffman, I'm treasurer of Main Street, and I am ecstatic to introduce you to Mariah Tyler. She is our new executive director. Mariah, I was going to call you Tyler. Mariah's been with us for just over 60 days. And as you can see in your packets that we shared with you, she has been doing some great things in those 60 days. And I think over the next several months, you're going to see even more from her. The executive committee and the board are just beyond thrilled to have her here. And just, it's fresh energy, fresh ideas. I think, some of you have probably already interacted with her. She's done a great job of getting to know Matt Perkins in his new role, getting to know Margie and everyone else at the borough, trying to continue with that collaboration. I think that might have been something we were missing before, which we can all, I think, agree to, which is part of the reason we're here on a quarterly basis giving you all an update. So I think Mariah's been working great with everybody involved, including the chamber. That relationship with the chamber is also blossoming even more. She's involved in their weekly employee meetings and things like that. So it's just, in 60 days, it's amazing how much she has accomplished. So I'm thrilled to introduce you, and I told her I'd let her sit this one out today, and I can, do the presentation, but be passing that torch on, at a later time. But, we did give you some information to review before today's meeting. So before I get into just a couple highlights there, just wanted to see if you had any questions on anything that we had provided to you. Okay. If not, just want to touch on just a handful of things, as I know we're limited on time here, but you will see in both the financial statement packet, and there's a letter in there discussing the fact that the Main Street Hanover did receive $150,000 in a bequest from a local individual who had passed away. We were, again, thrilled. I think I've used that term several times here tonight, but thrilled to get that money. It just shows, the confidence that that individual had and the executors of the will had, in what Main Street is doing. So what we've done is, we've kind of been hobbling along here financially, as you all know. So what we've done, some of that money was used to cover our loss that we had last fiscal year. And you will see the financials that you have are for last fiscal year. That was for the 12 months ended June 30th. So some of that money we will also be using for this fiscal year. We're in a year of transition. Mariah's just learning how things work around here, getting those new ideas out. And while she's got a lot of great ideas, we don't know if they're going to work. We're hopeful that they will, we just don't know. So we are setting a little bit of that aside for this year's fiscal year budget, which actually we just passed not too long ago. And then the rest of it, about $80,000, we are actually going to set aside in a reserve account, investment account, for an emergency fund. And if anyone is familiar with how nonprofits work, nonprofits always want to have anywhere from 6 to 12 months of emergency funds if something were to happen. Just 4 short years ago, we all endeavored COVID, and we were hurt by that. So, if something, God forbid, would happen again like that, we've got a cash reserve there that we can still be financially stable, still do the things that we're doing for the community. So that was just a great relief for us, along with Mariah coming on board. And, as you will see in the packet as well, Mariah's concentrating on increasing the downtown events. She has put together a new second Saturday schedule, so we will have a second Saturday every month. She's looking at doing walking tours, again, just to get tourism down here, down to the downtown, get new people here, or even Hanover residents. There's probably a lot of people here that don't know, some of the things about the buildings downtown. So she's working with a variety of folks to get some of the tours in place. We did secure a $5,000 grant to purchase headphones that can be used on those tours, as well as a speaker set. So a lot of great things happening. Just hoping, we can continue doing that, and we hope that, we continue to get the support of the borough. So if any of you have not yet had the chance to meet Mariah, please, stop by 40 York Street and, say hi, introduce yourselves, and happy to keep working together. So anything I missed that you wanted to?
Yeah, I don't want to take up your time, but I do want to reiterate what Nikki said. I would love to, if I haven't met you already, I would love to grab lunch with you, coffee, whatever. I would really like to hear about, why you're invested in the community and how we can collaborate moving forward. So,
Thank you. Welcome aboard.
thank
I'm
you.
particularly excited about your second Saturday. I mean, it looks like you have some really great ideas
Yeah.
to improve that program, so thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
If I could add one thing also, the Christmas Committee underneath Main Street's tutelage are donating $10,000 to the Market House for decorations for Christmas this year.
Wonderful.
So,
Yes. Yeah, that was from the funds that we raised to do the downtown, and we thought it was a great idea to help with the market downtown, so, yeah, we approved that, I think, today,
Yeah.
so,
Good job, ladies. Okay, thank you.
thank you.
This time, the chair will request council's consideration through motion to approve the items on the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of approving the consent agenda signify by saying aye, please. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Councilor Rowland, did you have a vote? Can you hear me, Scott? Okay. We'll turn to page 2. We're moving into standing committees, the first being public safety. Councilor Fuentes?
Oh, sorry. Consideration of a motion to approve ordinance number 2371 entitled an ordinance amending ordinance number 1796 entitled an ordinance requiring all tenants of the borough to file a report with the borough designating occupants or tenants of any dwelling unit and any change in the occupancy or tenancy thereof, and require all landlords in the borough to distribute said report forms to their tenants, as set forth in Chapter 278 of the Code of Ordinance of the Borough of Hanover. Sorry about that, I got bifocals now and sucks to get old. Tell you getting there.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask Secretary Felix to execute a roll call vote for council.
Dr. Rupp,
Yes.
Mr. Reichart,
4.
Mr. Bob,
Yes.
Mr. Kress,
Yes.
Mr. Lookenbill,
Yes.
Mr. Fuentes.
Yes.
Mrs. Greenholtz,
Yes.
Mrs. Funk,
Yes.
Mr. Rowland, Mr. Hegberg.
Yes.
We have 9 in favor and 0 against. Motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Fuentes. We will move into Planning Commission. Councilor Hegberg?
Consideration of motion to approve Resolution 1416 for the preliminary and final subdivision plan for Home City Ice Company, 236, 238 Poplar Street, Hanover, PA.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, a nay?
No.
No and no.
Who do we have? Darlene and
And
Greg.
Councilor Greg.
Greg. Okay.
Councilor Rowland, your vote? Sounds like it's 7-4-2.
can he turn on, Mark, can he turn on his video and wave his hand?
Okay.
What's up?
Manager Lewis, it has to be voice.
Voice?
Yeah.
He's all right, geez.
His mic's muting, but there's no movement.
Okay.
Lights are on. Nobody.
Called in on this.
Bill, can we separate the next
Yes.
item?
Yes, before I turn it over to you on finance, Councilor Kress, it's been requested to separate the two items at your discretion. If not, there'll be a motion on the floor to separate them.
What 2 items? Oh.
There's two separate things in this motion.
Only two that are there.
They are.
But they fall under the same resolution. Is that okay, Counselor?
It's it's a great question. So,
Resolution A and B.
yeah, if the total, well, we'll have to see how the vote, we'll see how the vote turns out.
So you want me to read it as it is?
No, separate them out,
Okay.
and then we'll see what the total votes are.
Little ad-libbing here, so bear with me. Consideration of a motion to approve resolution number 1417, revising the schedule of fees for the permit licenses and services provided by the Borough of Hanover to include the addition, include the addition of a fee for residential rental registration.
I most so motion.
Okay. Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on that?
What exactly is the fee? Did everybody come up with the fee?
Yeah, it's $35. It was in your packet.
It was in the packet.
Is that nailed down?
It was.
$35
I
is
heard-
what we're asking to
I
be
just keep hearing different things,
the
so I
fee.
just want to make sure.
$35.
Any other questions? Comments? I'll call the question. All in favor, again, specifically the first part of what's written, that being the rental registration fee portion of what's written. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
Nay.
One nay. Counselor Rowland, do you registering a vote? Seeing none, I believe it passes 8-1. Second part of the motion, sir?
Can we read the first part again?
Please.
Okay, consideration of a motion to approve resolution number 1417 and decreasing the library room rental fee for weddings held in the Bear Center.
I'll second.
Okay, we've got a couple seconds. A discussion on reduction of the wedding fee, rental fee for weddings at the Bear Center?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Counselor Funk, what say you?
Question, and I had asked our attorney about this, but we were turned down when the cookie woman wanted to put in food for the library. We were eventually turned down because we were going to turn that third-story terrace or whatever upstairs on the third floor for parties and receptions and things. And that was turned down because it did not apply to education, et cetera. I personally do not have a problem with holding conferences down in that bare room. But when it comes to weddings, even though it's $1,000, I do have a problem with bringing in alcoholic beverages into the library itself. Also, the fact that when we hold these so-called shindigs that has been brought up, I'm for raising money, please don't get me wrong. But the parking, if library patrons want to use that library on a Saturday, and you're holding a wedding there, okay, with alcohol being served down in the bare room, etc., I don't think it applies a good facial, okay, quality for the library. And also with the problem of parking, because we would have to get the permission of the Eichelberger Center on a constant basis, and that may not hold out, and then we may end up having to pay for those parking places eventually. You know, they may say, you know, we're doing this as a favor to the borough, but I really think we have to think about this before we go head over heels into, I want to bring that money in, but the alcohol bothers me, the parking, the condition of the bridal parties and everything going into that bare area down there, and then having your fully operating library upstairs. So that's my discussion point.
That's a really good point. I was just wondering, how did we handle that in the past? Was there a problem with weddings and things up there?
We didn't have it.
I thought there was a time when.
No, they put a large amount on that rental fee for weddings so that we didn't have to be concerned.
Right, but
okay?
when we did, and somebody did pay the 5,000, maybe they did.
I don't think they ever did.
Did they ever?
I don't think they ever did.
Alcohol is not prohibited in the Bear Center.
Right.
So this does not do anything to whether or not alcohol is served in the Bear Center. There are events there all the time that have alcohol.
Okay, that's
We
what I'm
host-
saying.
The library, we host an event, the honors event.
How many
has-
weddings do we have there every year?
I don't believe there's any right now
I don't-
because the fee is exorbitant.
Right.
It's $5,000 for 6 hours. So
Lot of
we'd
money.
like to reduce that to $1,000 and allow us to manage it so that we don't have the problems that you're alluding to, Darlene, because we agree with you. We don't think that that's a good look either, that there's a mix. So we're just asking that it be reduced so that if we are going to allow rentals for weddings, that it be reduced to a fee that we can actually glean from these people that are having a reception there.
Well, my question was that this was tested already on the terrace. That was tested. And the cookie lady, that was tested. I think some people are aware of it. And so if that was a negative, I can't possibly see how we can get weddings in down there when it's an educational center. You know, and you're saying that we served alcohol in that library?
In the Bear Center.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
I'd like to just jump in. We're talking about two similarly related things, but they're actually not the same.
What?
Currently, weddings are allowed at the Bear Center.
For $5,000.
No one's taking, the comment is, it's suggested that no one's availing of the, taking the opportunity because of the prohibitive high cost of $5,000. So the staff recommendation is to come back with $1,000 to potentially capitalize a rental source
Right.
or an
Have
income
we
source.
rented it out for $5,000? Have we ever rented it
I
out?
believe I've heard no, or currently, not within
Right,
current times.
because that was very high.
Right, but you're advocating other things which are
What do you mean?
beyond what the motion is, I think.
I got it.
You're talking conceptually that maybe we shouldn't offer the venue for weddings or weddings with alcohol or large enough weddings that impact the parking, the alcohol, and the current utilization of the library during normal library hours. The motion is simply to adjust the fee.
Right.
Well, wouldn't they be holding that during regular library, like you get married at 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and then you hold the party until, how late's the library open on Saturday?
We can work with renters, so we would probably be there until perhaps 10. Amy, you rented it for an evening. How late were you there? 9, 10?
9 o'clock in the evening? Okay. You know what, I'm going to sit back with this, but I've watched it go down twice, and I think that and it was tested, and they had to drop both of them, both the use of the terrace, and they did, and they had to drop the sale of food, you know. So I'm just going to sit back, you know, and the rest of you can vote as you choose, okay? All right.
Question of mine is for staff, is $1,000, is that commensurate with, I have sons, I don't know what weddings go for.
Yes.
I'm seeing now.
For 6 hours.
Isaac,
nice.
didn't you
That's
give me
space.
the information about the State Museum?
Yeah, so sorry, I don't know if I can talk
Huh?
right now, but.
If you
Since I
need him as
engaged
a-
him, he gave me the information on the State Museum that he
Well,
paid $1,000.
I got married in 2022, I got married in the State Capitol Building in Harrisburg, and then we had our reception hall at the State Museum. That each unit itself was around $1,000, $2,000 each for multi-units.
Okay.
We're talking, it was cheap, it was chairs, everything, you name it. So if you're saying $5,000 from our library, crazy, no one would pay for that. So $1,000, I would even go cheaper personally, but $1,000 is a good place to start.
My gut says 1,000's light. It's a lot of
Yeah.
work.
They must also pay for a staff person to be there during their event, and that staff person would be responsible for calling in our police if there's a problem. We haven't had that happen. I don't want to say that it wouldn't, because we all know that it could, but.
Further discussion, questions?
So just to be clear, we're just voting on the fee. We're not voting on whether we're having alcohol there or none of that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, right. That's what I've said. Her issue's related, but it's really a separate conversation for a separate day. Unless you vote this down, then you can.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Shouldn't. I will call the question. All in favor of, again, it would be the decreasing of the fee schedule of 1417 so that weddings can be held at the Bear Center. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
Nay.
No and no? Any noes and
Who
noes?
seconded was Mr. Kress made the motion? And
Yes. It
I
was
have Carol.
seconded by someone, Counselor Greenaway.
I think it was Carol.
Can be.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Rowland, do you have a vote on this one? Seeing none, we will say that the motion passed, the second part of it, 7 for, 2 against.
Who were the two
There he is.
against?
Did you hear him?
Counselor Funk. Okay, any management reports to highlight verbally? Manager Lewis, no?
No, sir.
Okay. Other matters? Is there any additional public comment? I didn't get anything for post-meeting.
Sandy now again. I came before you on 2 other occasions concerned about the activity that I have been subjected to and those individuals who have been helping me. Years ago, the Justice Department, the U.S. Marshal's Office, the Pennsylvania Attorney's Office were all notified by me or a proxy of the illegal activity occurring in York and Adams counties involving this borough and other boroughs. They refused to present badges, IDs, or paperwork to me. Instead, they teamed up with local authorities to embellish allegations and accusations against me, spreading lies on social media and creating a frenzy equivalent to yelling fire in a crowded theater. The crime of arson is a felony, which has no statute of limitations. Is that correct, Mr. Schultes?
He's just hearing you, ma'am.
There have been incidents here in Hanover and Gettysburg that included a business on Carlisle Street, the dairy bar across from the library, and the Gettysburg Civil War Chapel. All have similar characteristics. Unfortunately, I only have time for one. We'll start with the business on Carlisle Street.
Ms. Mao, I think you're going outside of the context of this portion.
Yeah, this is our borough,
It
and this
is,
is
and
occurring in this borough.
personal issue, ma'am, that I'm going to refer you to.
It's not a personal issue.
law
It's a
enforcement.
borough issue.
Not
When you
a borough
allow
issue.
arson to occur in this borough, it is an issue.
Thank you for your comments. I'm going to ask you to summarize and please conclude. Thank you, Ms. Mel. At this time, I have a couple of, one September meeting to highlight. The much-anticipated council budget workshop will be held on Tuesday, September 24th from 9 till 3, and that is here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's not listed as here, maybe it is, I'm not seeing it. And lastly, other highlight, there will be a public workshop held on September 18th, 5 p.m., which is prior to Finance and Personnel Committee meeting regarding 34 and 44 Frederick Street building projects. So general budget items, September 24th, 9 to 3, specifically 33 and 44 Frederick building projects, the 5 p.m. September 18th. With that, I request a motion to adjourn. So moved. Second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay?
Or the finance.
Counselor Rowland, you voting on adjournment?
Yeah.
We are adjourned. Thank you.